Hi, I'm Kathryn Sullivan. I graduated from Dalhousie's Faculty of Science with a PhD in 1978 and went on to join NASA in the astronaut program, where I stayed for the following 15 years. I think I've been an explorer probably from the moment I was in the crib, but then I think every infant is an explorer in the crib, an explorer and a scientist. That's how young humans begin to develop, by touching and reaching and feeling and trying and finding out what solves their problem or gives them pleasure or makes them unhappy. But that's certainly carried on all throughout my childhood and adulthood in my case. But I think you're exploring anytime you put your curiosity into action. My resume would indicate I should have a lot of things to be proud of, and I do. But one that really rises to the top is it was such a privilege and an honor to be among the first 6 women to join NASA's astronaut corps. The door was ajar for us. Women who'd gone before us, set the example, shown what they could do, had helped change the world so that NASA was receptive to, and in fact seeking, women when our selection came along. But what I'm really proud of is that all 6 of us in our various flights, and we were so very thoughtfully committed to this from the earliest days on, we really wanted to excel because we wanted to blast the door wide open for women who might come after us. I'm not big on legacies, I'm bigger on bequests, what you bequeath to someone for their future instead of what you leave behind for someone to remember you. And I think the 6 of us left a really good bequest. The motivation for me from the get-go and still in these later years of mine, it's just curiosity. I've had probably the biggest headlines and most notable accolades I'll ever have in my life that have been lovely. But the things with the big headlines are not the only interesting or worthwhile things to do on this planet. There's an endless array of those. Some of them much more modest in scope and scale, but not more modest in meaning and impact. I have found the greatest challenge I have faced in any of my roles has typically been overcoming some piece of myself that needed a little further development. Getting past an insecurity, sharpening your discipline, learning some new content that you hadn't yet mastered, and then just always setting a very high standard for my own performance. The thing that always draws me home from my expeditions is the ability to take these stories back, to take my experiences back, and make them matter, make them not just be my memories or my vacation pictures, but find ways in which they can inspire or help or inform people around me, whether it's family or friends or work colleagues. I wanted the experience I had had, seeing the Earth from that extraordinary vantage point, to matter, to make a difference on Earth, not just be something I could amuse audiences with.